Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
Welcome back to YA OK. Happy November. We're officially out of Halloween season. Eric, how you feeling?
I am feeling as good as I can be feeling.
Yeah, that's true. We are recording this episode. Oh, this is Alyssa, by the way, and I am joined by my splendid co-host, Eric. We are recording this today, and we recorded the interview today, the day after election results were revealed. And it's been a really challenging week for everyone, for sure. And I feel like this was the perfect antidote to all of the craziness.
It really was. I think I said it before, like before we started recording, that I am in a better place than I was in 2016. But I do think that just talking with JJ, where our guest today is Jason June, just talking with JJ and kind of about the Christmas spirit.
It's weird.
About the Christmas spirit and hope and everything. I think it was just, it's nice. It's a nice episode. I like this one. This was a good conversation. And I think everybody listening is going to kind of come out of it feeling a little bit more hopeful, a little better. For, even if it's for the next month or so.
Yeah.
Just hour. Yeah.
Or I don't know. I feel like I have a lot more of a positive outlook on the next, couple of months at the very least, and that sort of like snapped me out of despair mode.
Yeah.
JJ has such like a joyful presence, and also the most beautiful hair I've ever seen. And also, if you go on his website, oh my god, JJ's hair is stunning. and then I was on his website earlier, and he has like the most beautiful photo shoot I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. So
it should be criminal that like one person has that much like not only so much external beauty, but he's also genuinely a beautiful person on the inside too. He should honestly lock him up. Lock up Jason June, I think. It should be illegal for one person to be the perfect package. It's not. It just
fair. Doesn't feel fair in some ways, but I'm so glad that he came onto the podcast and that we had such a lovely conversation. And I think it'll put you all in a better mood and maybe gear us up for the holiday season. Do you have anything else you want to share before we get into the episode? It's kind of a long one.
No, let's warm our hearts.
Let's warm our hearts. This episode feels like the podcast equivalent of a hot cup of cocoa, in my opinion. Yes. Okay, enjoy.
5 long years, our lives like magnetic fields. You are my universe. You are my universe, and I'm just a planet.
So hi, JJ. How are you?
I am just delightful. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm like fully, November 1st came around and I fully Mariah carried, "It's time."
I was going to say, you look very cozy in your little Winter
Christmas
Wonderland
PJs.
I wore my Christmas plaid just for you too, by the way.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
I wore my Playboy one. I didn't get the theme. I didn't know.
I mean, that could be jammies.
Yeah.
You know?
Playmates celebrate Christmas too.
You're right. Also, I have to say, you have some of the most beautiful
ones.
hair I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my God, thank you. It's like the source of my power. This is the thing I put my time and effort into.
Understood. And by that measure alone, very powerful person. That's how I feel.
I love it. I have the one balayage to rule them all.
Yes, I love it.
This is genuinely probably like the best that this could have worked out, because for listeners at home, we're recording this episode the Thursday after the election. So we're going to have a very wholesome and happy episode because we're here to talk about Jason June's new book, Flapping in a Winter Wonderland, which is basically like a queer Hallmark Channel YA read that is just perfect. And I started literally the day of the election to kind of distract myself from looking at my phone all the time.
Yeah.
It could possibly be the reason that I am in like an okay-ish mood, like why I feel better than I did in 2016. So first of all, thank you for that, JJ. Like it's heartwarming and funny and so adorable. And I will let you, I'm going to let you kind of talk about like the plot first, just pitch it to our listeners right now.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for that. Like that really means a lot. The whole goal of this was to be that escapism that, yes, the cover, that escapism that just like pure joyful feeling of a Hallmark movie or a straight to streaming Netflix holiday film where we just completely lose ourselves and know that logically the sequence of events would never happen, but it's so fun to imagine like what if it could.
Bought into the fantasy. Bought in.
Yes.
That is like one of the first things I thought in like the first 2 chapters. I was just reading it and I was just like, this is so far-fetched and I love it. I'm like in. Like, yes, absolutely, dude. You could totally get away with this, sure.
I love that.
Love it.
So the very quick like elevator pitch of Flopping in a Winter Wonderland is it's 2 guys that are stuck on a year-round Christmas theme park island who both hate Christmas and decide to go a little bit Grinch on the holiday, but along the way discover their love for Christmas and their love for each other. Oh. And it's just all about the magic of the holiday season. The long version of Flopping in a Winter Wonderland is we are following 2 points of view. We've got Chris, who is a wanderer or a person that works on Winter Wonderland, which is the year-round Christmas theme park island, created by Kris Kringle, not Santa, but a guy who actually legally shares the name of Santa Claus, who owns Kringle's Crafts, which is a huge like $1 billion worth company of crafting goods. And he has bought an island an hour's flight north of Alaska and created a whole year-round Christmas experience on Winter Wonderland is what he calls the island. The other point of view is Aaron, who is a mainlander who lives in Southern California and cannot stand Christmas because he thinks it's all manufactured and that people lose their freaking minds over getting all holiday gaga. Specifically, by people, he means his older brother, Casey, who's a sophomore in college, who is so deluded into just the joy of the holiday season that he thinks it lasts all year round and doesn't see the world as it actually is, which bothers the hell out of Aaron because he's very type A. He calls himself the robot because he detaches himself from emotion to make logical, sound decisions in all aspects of his life. And his older brother, Casey, doesn't do that, especially with his relationship to Raquel, who he's been with for 8 years. And Raquel dumps Casey at the very start of this book. And so Casey's heartbroken. He's so codependent. He doesn't know how to exist without Raquel. And as the Christmas gods would have it, they win a lottery to go to Winter Wonderland because it's a very expensive experience and they could never go otherwise. But they get it at just the right time, which brings Aaron to Winter Wonderland, where he meets Chris, the Wanderer, and where he also sees Raquel, who just so happens to randomly be on Winter Wonderland during this whole trip where Aaron is trying to get Casey over his ex. Wow. So Aaron enlists the help of Chris to sabotage all of Casey's experiences trying to win Raquel back in order to prevent his brother from getting back into a codependent relationship. So it's a good reason he's going Grinch, he thinks, but then, hilarity ensues as he discovers that it's kind of misguided the way he's looking out for his brother.
Oh, I love it. And I don't know if it's just like where I'm emotionally at, but I got like welled up several times when you were explaining all of this. I was like, and it sounds beautiful.
And it's so cute.
My emotions are just at the surface right now.
I hear you.
Casey is such a cute character. He's like this 6'8" giant himbo golden retriever who just wants the best for everybody. And he's just like, you immediately are just like, you're the most adorable thing in the world. Like probably within 2 pages, I was like, okay, I love Casey. So
Casey was so much fun for me to write. Like there's 3 main relationships in this story, or 3 main just magical connections about life that I'm trying to explore in this. One of them being the exploration of brothers and like siblinghood in general, but specifically in this, having an older brother. And that's, for me, I had an older brother. His name is Zach. He's nothing like Casey. He's not a himbo. He is tall, not 6'8", but he's like 6'2". And
guy can dream.
Yeah, exactly. He's a neuroscientist. He's very smart. And when we were growing up, he's 3 years older than I am. We hated each other's guts. Like, we were that stereotypical, always fighting, him pinning me to the floor and like spitting in my face, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the second he moved to college, I was like, where's my brother? I miss my brother.
People have that experience. It's like when they're out of the house, then you're like, and no one's going to spit on my face at all. and the crazy part too is because I have an older brother and a younger sister. And for people who have no siblings, when you explain like sibling relationships and growing up with siblings, so many times I feel like they're hearing what I'm saying and I'm like, are you just like comedically explaining trauma to me? And I'm like, no, it's fun, it's siblings. I'm like, you need to hold on.
It's totally natural to get the shit beat out of you.
And it's fine. And it's fine. It makes us stronger. It's out of love. It's
yes, exactly.
My brother and I used to fight all the time until I think college. Not college. It was high school, because we ended up in high school together because he's 3 years older than me too. And I think it was just like he would drive me to school in the morning with his girlfriend. And I think it was just after we both were in the same place, I think we had kind of matured to the same level. And so I wasn't being a petty little bitch and then he wasn't being a jerk. So we actually were able to become friends.
Yeah.
And I think there's always a point, maybe not always, maybe some people hate their siblings, but I think there's always a point when you like kind of get to like this area of understanding and then you realize, oh, I actually really do love this person. It's not just this like, because we're family, I have to love you kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely.
And I was going to ask you about your brother too, because you dedicated your book to your brother.
Yeah,
it's very
Zach.
sweet. I always read dedications.
I do too. I love dedications. Zach is really just the best. Ever since that, literally the day he moved to college, our relationship totally changed. And you know, there's something really special about having another person that's been through not the exact same things that you've been through, but has been through so many of the same things in terms of issues growing up. And that's not to say that we had big time issues, but it is to say we were shaped by like the fact that our parents got divorced when we were very young. I was 3 and he was like 5, almost 6. And I think I've handled very healthily, like my parents' divorce. I'm not traumatized by that. I was actually the kid in elementary school whenever their parents would get divorced that I was like, you are in for a treat. Now you're
We're like 2 Christmases.
Exactly. It was for that. You're getting 2 Christmases. Now you have your step parents' families that are also trying to compete for your love. It's like you've exponentially grown in celebration and gifts.
Right.
But we all know that it's much more than that as adults now.
Yeah.
And so just to have somebody that has been through the same things, that can see, that has learned kind of the same lessons about watching your parents be human and now being adults and us being able to like analyze that and what they were going through. It's such a special experience. And to just know that no matter how old we get, we will always have that one person that I can be like, do you remember when X, Y, and Z happened? Or what do you think about when mom said that? Or like, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's special.
It is special. And I also, I love any time of friendship of really any kind between 2 men is being described and like really being honored, because especially in the past like couple of months, like leading up to this like election cycle and whatever, like masculinity has just become really interesting to me to observe and to try and like learn about. And masculinity when it comes to friendships and the way that men have friendships with each other is so different than the way that like women have friendships with each other. And it's just, or it's not really like men and women, it's like the masculine energy and the feminine energy. The relationships and friendships that exist within that are just so different.
Yes.
And so I love like anytime a masculine friendship is being presented and it's like, maybe not all of it is perfect, but like showing the like dynamics of it and like honoring it and giving it space is just really nice.
Yeah, I love that. And it's really important to me in all of my books to show masculine straight men having very in-depth, profound, and rewarding relationships with gay men, and that it never has to be about sexuality. And especially as a kid that grew up in the early 2000s, like when I was a teenager, was the early 2000s and everything, there was such an aversion to anything gay at any time. Like, I mean, the big insult was like, oh, that's gay. And like, just saying that flippantly and everything, that it was a self-fulfilling prophecy that straight guys would make it then if they were interacting with gay men, all they could think about was the gay aspect of it. Where I'm like, you're thinking about being gay more than I'm thinking about being gay. Right. In the grand scheme of things. And so when I can show just like these healthy relationships where it's really not about that, until like any friend would, or any gay family member, whatever would, if they're asking for relationship advice, then we're the one layer of, oh, this happens to be two men are being spoken about. But it doesn't need to change your advice, or it doesn't need to change the way you interact with me. And I think it's really important to just show like, this isn't straight versus gay or masculine versus feminine. It's just, let's just be human together. And if you're very masculine, great. Now, how can you apply that healthily and lovingly to me or to a gay person?
Yeah, 100%. I love that. Like that whole conversation and all of the like dynamics of those friendships and relationships are so interesting to me. So I love that that's a part of your story too.
I have this idea I'm trying to pitch to my agent, which I haven't emailed him anything because it's been a busy week. But it kind of, it's going to be a YA, and it does kind of break down that idea of like, and also kind of, because there's a lot of readership of especially queer fiction where if there are two guys, it's like they automatically have to get together. And it's like, if I were to write a story about two teen men who are straight and love each other, people would be like, well, why didn't they get together? They were so cute together. They love each other. And it's like, because that's not how everybody is. They're straight and they are allowed to love each other and still be friends. Like that is part of friendship, is loving your friends. And I kind of want to play with that and kind of dissect the fetishization of two men falling in love and make it into like, there's different types of love, you know?
Yes. I love everything about that. My two best friends in high school were straight guys, Robbie and Teddy, and they were phenomenal. And we would tell each other, even before I came out, like we would tell each other, I love you, like end our conversations with, okay, I love you. Yeah. And I came out and they didn't change at all.
That's so special.
Yeah. They were just so phenomenal. And they were like, they still said, I love you. When I came out to Teddy specifically, I remember him saying like, oh, thank you so much for telling me I love you. And I'm like, Teddy, God.
Did they grow up with healthy parents? Like
they did.
It sounds like they did.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, and they went through like their own issues too in their own lives.
Of course.
But like never made it my issue and just did, you know, what any friendship should, is we were all able to be there for each other whenever we had our own very, you know, subjective issues.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
You live in Texas. Did you grow up in Texas?
I grew up in Eastern Washington, outside of Spokane, Washington, which is like 20 minutes away from Idaho. So it was a very conservative area, like, and especially in my little rural community, we had like 50% of the population was Mormon. We literally had an LDS church on the campus of our schools. Like the middle school, elementary, and high school were all there together. And then the fourth building in this plot of land was the LDS church. And then 45% of the remaining population was like very evangelical Christian or very like heavily practicing religious. And the other 5% of us were like, well, you know, here we are.
Wow. What an interesting place to grow up. Have you ever like gotten into any of the FLDS like documentaries and stuff like that? Or are you like, I'm good on that?
I've been watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and
I wanted to watch that. Is it good?
I'm obsessed with it. It's worth every last second.
It's so good. Don't you watch it and you're like, I want this to be a Coke with coconut cream in it so bad.
Yes.
They drink these giant like big gulps of soda and they look so refreshing. I'm like literally salivating thinking about it because they look so good.
Yes, when they'll describe their whole orders that have like 78 ingredients in them, I'm like, I just want to try that.
1 pump of sugar-free raspberry, 1 pump of sugar-free mango. I'm like, oh my, this is. I've never felt like I wanted to go to like the Midwest more than I have when I found out that Sips, which is where they go to get their soda, is only like pretty much in the Midwest. But one day I'll make.
Is it caffeine-free Coke?
No,
because they're not allowed caffeine.
So apparently there's like actually more nuanced rules to it where they can have caffeine. They can't have hot caffeine. Have coffee or tea, but they can still have Coke.
What Bible verse does it specify that?
Right.
It's just, I mean, whatever. That's just such a funny, specific rule that I just can't imagine.
It's bananas when you really think about it. But that's what I really love about that show. It's what I really love about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
It's also what I've loved about my experience with very religious people. Like when I came out, we had a class of 100 kids, around 100 kids. So we'd all known each other for like years and years. And at one point had been in one class, if not many, many classes with each other. And despite my school community being very religious, they were all amazing to me when I came out my senior year of high school. I wasn't sure that was going to be the case, but they really were. And I'm fascinated by the idea, this is such a fun tangent, fascinated by the idea of people grappling with spirituality, but also seeing where there's like nuance in the human experience. Some of their parents weren't very excited when I came out, but they specifically were like, hey, I'm still Mormon. I'm still going to go to my like church school. I'm forgetting what it's called right now. Every single morning before we go to high school, but I still love you. And I'm still inviting you to my home and all these things. And I feel like, especially like Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, it's all these 25 to 35-year-old women who are like, I'm a modern woman and like, but I'm still very Mormon. And it's okay for me to wiggle these rules around or help the religion evolve a little bit and still, I think in the grand scheme of things, that's where we have to go, is where we see nuance in things.
Yeah, I agree. I think when we're too much in the black and white, and I also understand people who, I understand the ideology behind people who are like, I can't accept any of this because it's a slippery slope. I get that. And if you want progress, maybe we allow nuance, because that's better than saying you have to be black or white. You either are, Mormon and you hate me, or you're not and you love me. Like, that's, in reality, life is so much more dynamic than that and nuanced than that it's nice that you had that experience so early on, and like that is a part of like your whole story.
It really gave me faith in humans in general, where I am a firm believer in we can disagree on so many things and still see each other's humanity. And that's like my theme in life, is to remember, even when people are actively working against me, it sucks and it doesn't make it fair and I don't like it at all. Yeah. But I have to remind myself to never make that person a monster, that they are a human and there's something that is driving their actions. Oftentimes it's fear. And I feel like it's going to be a lifelong journey, and I'm certainly not going to figure it out in my lifetime. But if I can try to get to the source of that fear and show them there's nothing to be afraid of, we can really make the world an amazing place.
Yeah. That's called empathy, and a lot of people don't have it. That's the main thing.
I was lacking empathy like all of yesterday. I was like, tomorrow I'll have empathy. Today I have none. Check in with me tomorrow.
It's okay to not be empathetic to people, because it took me a while. The first time Trump was elected, it took me a while to forgive people that either didn't vote or voted for Trump. And I got to the part where I was like, okay, well, you obviously, when I do things in my life, I am always thinking about other people. I am not a selfish person. I would never vote selfishly. And I understand that there are people who do that. And it may not even be that they're being selfish or they not think they're selfish. They may be thinking about just their family, which is appropriate, because I do think about my family. That's why I vote for Kamala. So I was thinking about, but I was also thinking about more people. I genuinely was thinking more people are going to benefit under this than him. And I think there are some people who are not thinking about the grand scheme. They are aware that the world may collapse into fire and brimstone, but they think they are removed from that. And I think it's hard to have empathy for people like that sometimes. And it is work. It's something that you have to work up to. And I think eventually we'll all get there again. But it's okay to not be feeling that way right now.
Don't feel all the feels you got to feel.
Like that's
exactly. And it also, like, it's why having people write stories about queer relationships and doing that in a genre like YA is so massively important, because when you're like, when people are acting out of fear and like they can't imagine like a wholesome young adult having a relatively wholesome experience, like going to like a Christmas world and like having like, if they can't picture that outside of like the confines of what they think a relationship is, or a wholesome relationship at that, then it's going to be that much harder to get them across the line of like empathy and love and support. But when you have these stories and you're saying like, here's this wonderful story that I'm going to tell you, and it is going to involve a queer couple, and that's actually not the centerpiece of the whole thing. That is a function of the story, but the story is about all of these other characters and all of these other relationships that are going to interact with each other, and like the silliness that ensues and whatever. Like, it's just such a beautiful way to like contribute to that conversation in such a positive way too.
Thank you. It was, I mean, I'm obsessed with Christmas. I am a holiday head where it's like it is the most wonderful time of the year. That's why there's a song about it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's only one.
And I want that wholesomeness to be for everybody. And I think a lot of times like people will attribute holiday movies like Hallmark movies to being gay exclusionary, which they have been in the past, and they're getting better and they're trying to make strides more every year. And I just want to help that along. I want everyone to show like, you are a part of this. You're a part of this magic. Let's all be delusional together. And let's also see beyond the delusion and know that, like, I am a firm believer that Christmas, while anything can be made commercial, and holidays specifically, the heart of Christmas is not about being a commercial moment. It's about coming together with family as you describe it. It doesn't have to be blood family. It can be chosen family, found family, and just really appreciating the people in your life. And it's magical to have a time of the year where we are reminded to do that. Our world is so fast paced. We're trained to look at things in, like 2 to 5 second blurbs on TikTok and Instagram and just to swipe to the next thing. It's great to have a reminder that says, slow down, look at the people around you that you know, that you love, that aren't these parasocial relationships online, and spend time with them and appreciate them. Cook them a meal. If you can't cook, contribute how you can. I can't cook. I don't cook the meals. But,
but you bring something, cookies perhaps.
Yes. Yeah. I'll bring a little gift. I'll bring a little razzle dazzle to the party. And that's what Christmas is about. And that's what all holidays are about, I really think, at their heart.
Yeah, I agree.
So was that your inspiration for this book? It was the Hallmark Channel movies and all of that you were just like, I want one that's queer kids on a Christmas island in Alaska.
Yes, completely. Those were like the big three. I wanted the Hallmark vibes. I wanted to show that this is a genre for us too, for the queer community too. I wanted to show, to your point earlier, Alyssa, I wanted to show that to straight readers that there's nothing about this that is going to change the vibe of Christmas and Holly Jolly. It just so happens to be a couple that's two guys. Yeah. And I also really wanted to get into the heart of that, like, Christmas doesn't have to be this commercial behemoth. And if you see it that way, I do believe that that's a choice. Like, of course, it's a layer of it, but it's a layer of everything. You could say back to school is a commercial thing because all of a sudden kids are buying new outfits and pencils and backpacks. Right. Or you could say, there's that commercial aspect, but it's about like trying to get kids excited to go back to school, which they say they hate when they're everything. Yeah. And it's about education, and it's about the like proliferation of American society, and hopefully them learning truths and things like that. Like, it's bigger than that commercial aspect. And Christmas is bigger than that commercial aspect. And I wanted to do that in a multitude of ways, like exploring the familial relationship, the brotherly love between Casey and Aaron. I wanted to show the love between Chris and his uncle, who he's trying to bring back to Winter Wonderland. Chris's uncle Toby was known as like one of the best wanderers on the whole island. He's good at everything Christmas. He was the head woodworker in their toy shop.
Oh, I love it.
Yes. And he auditioned to be Santa and is like a shoo-in for Santa. And he got the part. But Toby says, as like a 45-year-old man, I will be Santa, but I want to be able to be Winter Wonderland's first gay Santa. Because they have a very inclusive Santa population on Winter Wonderland for races. And they are like inclusive of all of the religions, and showing that Christmas doesn't have to be about Christianity. But where they're still lacking is they have no queer representation on the island in terms of their Santa-dom or Mrs. Claus-dom. And Toby's like, I want to be that. I want to be the first gay Santa. And the company says, no, that's just not Santa lore. So Toby leaves the island, and Chris is trying to get Toby back and trying to convince Kris Kringle that they need a gay Santa. And the way he's doing that is by hopefully winning his grades. They call it the race, which is the race to see who can get a guest to Winter Wonderland to say they love them first, because it happens every year.
I love how much, I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but like the Santa politics is so good.
Yes. I mean, it's such a thing. Because I'm in a very roundabout, long-winded way, sorry to you and all your listeners, trying to show that Christmas is malleable and all traditions are malleable, is what I'm trying to explore. And that just because Santa may have started as like this white European man, and that's the Santa we see most often, it's great when other people tweak that original Santa foundation for themselves. And that's not to erase the original Santa. It's just to say, in this moment, this Santa feels more inclusive, or I feel more safe, or why can't all of these Santas who, unfortunately is a fictional figure.
What?
I know. Why can't all these Santas exist at once? Why can't we have multiple versions of this fictional character that we all take in at the same time? And if I say I want to have a gay Santa, that doesn't mean all straight people now have to only have gay Santa on their ornament. Like, have whatever Santa you want. Why can't we have Santa? We allow separation on things for so many reasons, is specifically with gender in our society. We think it's like totally natural to do men versus women in all things. Survivor, all the times, the castmates will be switching based on gender, or teaming up based on gender, or we have fraternities and sororities based on gender. We will have figureheads that represent a specific limited part of the population, because that segment of the population knows they can let their hair down around that person for whatever reason. Guys, when they'll do a guys' night and go to the sports bar or whatever it is that straight guys like to do together, specifically don't have
they like to do.
Specifically on guys' night, will not invite straight women around, because it changes their vibe. It changes how they interact. It changes what they say. Same thing the other way. On girls' night, they don't invite the guys around because it changes how they interact. So why in a thing like Santa, why can't I say, oh, in this specific instance, for this one Santa picture session, I want to have a gay Santa for our queer customers, because it will change their vibe. It will make them feel less like they have to have their awareness on around them if it's a safe space.
Right.
And that's something that could be an issue in like Hallmark coded things, because for a long time it was like no gay representation whatsoever. So why not include gay representation and let queer customers go to gay Santa if it makes them feel safer? They can also go to straight Santa. They can go to whatever Santa they want. And that's my whole point about anything, is like, let's just have multiple versions of anything. And especially on fictional characters. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I would choose whichever the sexiest Santa was.
All of them are sexy.
Yeah, I knew it. What would a gay Santa wear? Would it be any different, or would it be like would it just be the suit would be a little more trim in the right places and fit him better, and then like the other straight Santas would just kind of look a little sloppy?
Yeah.
Nicer boots.
I think all Santas look
heels.
Regardless of sexuality, regardless of race, regardless of religion, Santa is sexy, and that is a tenet of Christmas.
A universal truth.
It's a universal truth.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
With Uber Reserve, good things come to those who plan ahead. Family vacay? Reserve your ride as soon as you book your flights. To all the planners, now you can reserve your Uber ride up to 90 days in advance. See Uber app for details.
In the darkest corners of the internet, a nameless, formless entity has been growing. No one dares question where it was created or what it wants, but those who have been entranced by its musings chant its blood-curdling name in unison. Horror Movie Night!
Find Horror Movie Night on your favorite podcasting app or at hmnpodcast.com.
I'm wondering how you, infuse Hallmark magic into things. Because to me, it feels sort of, intangible. And it also is, part of what I love and look for when I'm watching things or reading things where I'm looking for that. I'm I can't describe what I need from this in a tangible way, but I need it to just give me the feeling.
Yes.
The coziness.
Yeah.
So the Hallmark feeling, it's a number of things. It's cozy. Yes. It's you've got to have a small town vibe. Also, it really is great if you have a character that starts in a big city vibe and then is contrasting to the small town vibe. They're all of a sudden wait, I love this. I love walking down Main Street and seeing the butcher and the grocer and the postman and the librarian and they all know each other.
I'm just a city girl and I didn't think I would love this, but I do.
But I do love it. I love the diner. I love it's all of that. I love walking down and seeing the sheriff and he's just howdy. And you're it's all great. It's a beautiful thing. You've got to have the small town vibe to have Hallmark. You also have to have a sort of healthy delusion about problems in the world. That their problems don't exist that are bigger than the Christmas tree farm is struggling. How are we going to get people to buy the Christmas trees anymore? Or little Jimmy is sad about celebrating Christmas anymore because it's his first Christmas without Grandma Jane. It can still be, you can still touch on things financial hardship or death, but it needs to be sort of surface level. But I don't want that to sound like I'm discounting the importance of things like this because it's so important that we don't get into too much depth and despair. We discuss sadness, we discuss negativity, but we don't go down a rabbit hole of it because then it erases the hope. It erases the feeling of, oh, life goes on and there is magic in life. And despite the main thing for a Hallmark movie or the Hallmark vibe is to say, despite the hardship, I can still see the magic. And it might be a struggle to get there, but I can see it and I can reach it. Usually within the span of the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas.
Right. In 90 minutes, I will achieve Christmas magic.
Yes. Yes. And really, when you think about it, that's a great way to lead your life. It's not to be delusional about your problems. And it's not to say that there's not going to be ebbs and flows in life and there's not going to be really dark periods of your life. But it's a great reminder of, I will get through this. I will reach the credits, and at the credits, it's going to be really happy. And there is always light at the end of the tunnel. Insert any cliche that you want to insert here, but it is a true thing about life. You can't continually focus on the negative. And it's funny that I'm saying this now because it's been really hard for me to do within the last year, and not even election related or anything. Just for whatever reason, right around my 36th birthday last year, September of last year, my mind switched. It kind of coincided when I got COVID for the first time. And I'm wondering if that is a weird side effect
long COVID.
Of long COVID for me is just not depression,
Despair?
but despair and anxiousness and being afraid of things that I was not afraid of before. For example, get Botox. I love getting Botox. And then all of a sudden I was wait a minute. Am I getting too much Botox? And then I was worrying about, am I going to pass out when they're injecting me? I've gotten Botox dozens of times and I've never passed out from a needle before, but all of a sudden I'm what if now's the time? So I've got to get into that Hallmark vibe of the magic of Botox, the magic of Christmas is always around the corner.
Maybe that's just something that happens when you turn 36, because I've never been nervous about needles or anything. And I think it was last year or the year before, I had a cavity that I needed filled. And they take out the needle to numb that side of my face. And I just see it coming towards me. And immediately I feel like sweaty, everything drained from my face. And I was just like, what the hell is happening right now? And it was like, as they were injecting me, my body got tingly and it started to lose sight around my eyes. And I was like, I've never passed out from a needle before. What is going on?
Yeah.
And so it's like, maybe there's just something that happened, or maybe it's just we have too much. What is the bad thing? Is it cortisol? Is that the bad thing that's in your head?
Yes.
Maybe we're just too high on cortisol, and that's what's happening.
You guys are freaking me out because I have a couple of years before I turn 36, and I'm so nervous. I feel like my cortisol is like, I'm going to snap at any moment. I can't take any more. And I
you can't get any flu shots anymore.
I enjoy my Botox appointments. So
yes, you're still going to love them. I'm not trying to plant a seed. It's amazing. The 30s are amazing.
Yeah.
It's just, just remember the magic of insert anything here is always around the corner. And there is truth to the, it's about your mindset.
Yeah.
It's not to ignore your problems, but we got to snap ourselves out of it sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that is a big issue with just kind of anything bad happening in your life is you can't ignore it because that's just not healthy, but you also don't have to obsess over it. And you can find moments where you can find happiness, even when the world is a mess around you and there are other people who are miserable. You should not feel that guilt of finding a moment of respite for yourself.
Yes.
I think everybody should be able to do that.
And that's Chris's big issue with holiday heads. Chris is the Wanderer who works on Winter Wonderland. He's like, the majority of people that come here that go to a year-round Christmas theme park island are trying to escape something and are never dealing with their problems. Why can't holiday spirit and the joy of Christmas coincide also with the reality of life and saying sometimes there's hard periods, and especially at the holidays, the hard periods of life get brought up where it's maybe it's your first Christmas without a loved one that passed away that year, or it's your first Christmas after a breakup or a divorce, or holidays can really trigger these bad things. And Chris's criticism of holiday heads is that they're trying to escape the bad things. And that's not healthy, to your total point. It's we can have Christmas joy and the joy of life and the joy of family and the people that we can rely on in conjunction with, and oftentimes complemented by, the hard things that we've gone through. And it highlights the people that are truly there for you. And what a great time to have a season to say thank you for being there for me through all this hard stuff so it allows you to acknowledge the hard stuff, but not get lost in despair and not get lost in delusion.
Yeah. I love that whole mentality.
I'm going to embrace that this holiday season.
Yes.
As you should.
I was my favorite holiday is Halloween, and this year I just wasn't even feeling it.
Me too. I felt very disengaged with Halloween, but I feel very excited for Christmas. Later today, I have a plan to go to Home Goods, and I'm gonna go get a nice Christmas candle and a Christmas pillow, and
I'm so excited for you. What I love about Home Goods is the one-off Christmas decorations at each location. You can go to 4 Home Goods in the same city and they'll all have different stuff.
And I'm so excited. It gives you the thrill of thrifting with the consumerism of it isn't being brand new.
Yes, exactly.
But whatever. It's one of those moments where I just need to have a moment, like we were saying, where the real stuff is going to exist. And at the same time, sometimes you just have to go to Home Goods. You just have to go and just live in the fantasy for a moment. And that's what I'm going to do.
Guilt-free. Yeah. Fantasy is good. Escapism is good.
It's good sometimes. JJ, do you have any specific Christmas traditions that you love and are so excited to do this year?
Yes, I love this so much. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually talk about a new tradition that I've always wanted to do, and now I'm finally going to do it, is I'm going to buy the collector's holiday Barbie that comes with a 12 Days of Christmas little Advent box with different accessories for her. And I'm starting this as a tradition.
I didn't know that was a thing. That's so fun.
Amazing. It's amazing. And I've said to my husband for years, what if I start collecting Barbies? And he was like, you can't do that. Like,
no
okay, I
fun.
understand why you're saying that, but instead of collecting Barbies as a whole, I'm going to collect holiday Barbies. And I think that's a good distinction and enough to say that I don't have a problem.
Yes.
So there's one new tradition.
You're gonna have to go through so many holidays, so many years of holidays for it to really be a space problem. And so I feel like this is a good compromise.
Yes. I mean, even 10 years from now, what's 10 Barbies scattered throughout the house? Too? It's like, that's nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
So we're going to be fine. And my problem is once I allow myself this, I'm going to go back in time a few years and then we could see how this goes. But anyway, catch up with me next year to see
where the collection is at.
Yes. Another tradition that we have is we always have two trees. We have a traditional tree, like the green tree with all the red and gold, that kind of motif ornaments. And then we always do a white tree that we do these crystal snowflakes on.
Pretty.
And it's fun to have different little magical vibes and to have different rooms in the house that have different feelings of the holiday spirit. So we will start decorating our trees. I love doing the snowflake tree, the crystal snowflake tree, because it's just like something Jerry and I do together every year. Jerry's my husband, by the way.
I assumed, context clues.
Yeah.
Jerry is this little elf that I keep under the stairs. He only comes out during the Christmas season.
And I love the act of decorating together, where it's just like we're not doing anything but listening to Christmas music and doing that decoration.
Oh, I'm so excited for that too.
It's so great. And then we always just do like we typically do like Thanksgiving with family, with like our blood family. And then we'll do Christmas with like our chosen family and the people that we like make an active choice to be a part of our lives. And they do the same for us. And it's nice just to have that little group of like around 10 people that come in. It's like the inner circle and just the friends that you can just hang with. You don't have to have any plans. You're just there. I love that so much. And I like really look forward to that. Our friend Andrew, who's also the second dedication in Flopping in a Winter Wonderland, always cooks. He's an amazing cook. And it's just like so much fun.
Oh, that sounds so wonderful.
I love it. I really love it. And there is a part of me that's like, I wish it could be Christmas all year round, but
that would remove the specialness.
Yeah, it would eliminate how special this like 6-week time is.
Yeah.
And that feeling of hope. And I still really try to like conjure the feeling I got when I was a kid. And as a kid, it was obviously for so many of us, it was waiting for the presents to figure out like, what am I going to get?
Yeah.
But now it's so much more than that. And I like to truly feel like the gift of company is something that is like, that means the most to me. And we don't do gifts at all anymore. It's just being with each other. And that truly is so special. And I just love that so much.
Yeah. And you said earlier, like in the conversation, that our lives are so busy. And like even if we had Christmas all year round, it would never be the same as it is like now, because we give ourselves permission to rest and to put our friends and our family first. I feel like for so much of like the end of November in through December and even kind of the beginning of January, we're like, I can't, it's the holidays. What are you, crazy? I'm not like
I'm booked. I can't do anything.
You want me to take on another client? It's the holidays. Another work project? See you in February. No. And I love that we have that as such like a special, like it's kind of cute that like all the humans just decided, we're like, hold on, it's December. Are you nuts?
Yeah.
It's the holidays. And I just like, I love that we all just decided that this is like our time to get like a little cozier with each other and like nurture relationships. Cause really that's what it's all about. And like, I think one of the big shifts as we get older in how we go about the holidays is when we're kids, it is all about like the gifts and whatever. But then at a certain point, I feel like everyone has like a moment where that's not really enough. Like that part of you clicks off and you're like, oh, I don't really feel the magic from the gifts. And then you realize you're like, oh no, it's actually like getting hot chocolate with my grandma and like having conversations with her about what Christmas was like when she was growing up and like going to Home Goods with my sister. It's like, it's the time and the energy and the little things like making sugar cookies, like just that, like that part of it is so much more special than like all the other stuff. just stuck.
Completely. And it's like, how special to have a moment where the people closest to you in your life, you're actively working on creating joy together, making those sugar cookies, having that moment going to Home Goods. That's just about creating joy with each other.
Yeah.
And that is so cool. It's like, what other time of year do we get that? It's really
Pride.
It's really special.
Yeah. Oh my God. Christmas is straight pride there. But then it's also, we can go enjoy it too.
We figured it out. Yeah, but
there it is.
But straight people can celebrate pride as an ally. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah.
That's, wow. Guys, we just cracked a code.
There it is. We figured it out.
The two most joyous times of the year. We figured it out.
Christmas and pride.
Christmas and pride.
And then they're 6 months apart. That's perfect. It's like halfway to Christmas. Boom.
Yeah.
This podcast is really about getting to the crux of things like that, I feel.
Yeah, definitely.
Unlocked a mystery of the universe. There it is.
All in a day's work. You know?
Secret revealed. Yeah, now we just need a Planet Earth episode about it.
Exactly. Exactly. Someone get Neil deGrasse Tyson on the phone. Yeah, exactly.
Alyssa, what are your traditions for the holidays?
We always do a gingerbread house.
Yes.
And that's really fun because now you can buy like pre-built gingerbread houses, but every single year we decide we're going to assemble it ourselves, which like obviously the decorations you still do either way, but we are every single year too impatient to wait for the house to set before we start decorating it. And it like inevitably one house collapses, but it's just like, we all still, whatever. It's so fun. And I have two cousins that are much younger than me, like that are 15 and 13. And like the two of them, like they're at that age where like they never want to show that they're having fun. Like they're just like, you know, they're too cool. Too cool for whatever. But they will still do the gingerbread house with us. And it's like such a fun thing to do together. So I'm excited for the gingerbread house. Obviously decorating is really fun. My sister is very into like building new traditions too. And it's just something about like her DNA. She just loves it. And she will make a tradition out of anything she possibly can. If we've done it once in her mind, it's a tradition. We're doing it every year. And so in the city, they do these like Christmas bars, and they're like little pop-up bars, and they're Christmas themed. And so we went to one last year, and she found a new one this year. So we're going to go to one of those this year too. And it's nice to just have like sister time. And we also watch It's a Wonderful Life every year. And that's a good like tear jerker, but you get to the end and it's such a beautiful story. So those are mine. Eric, what about you?
We have a holiday party every year.
Ooh.
That is like, it's just, it started out just as like a fun thing for people to get together and hang out. But now it's become like the event for all of our friends and like people who it's like an open house kind of thing. And so people who have kids, sometimes they'll bring their kids, but then like recently a lot of them have been like, no, we're hiring a sitter because you have a cocktail table and there's wine and beer and everything. So it's like an amazing food. So absolutely not. We're hiring a sitter and we're coming here and just hanging out with everybody. And so it's like slowly become more just adult oriented, but I'm looking forward to that. I actually just for the first time this year, our list has gotten so big that I had to create a spreadsheet and mail merge all the labels. So I'm not handwriting every single envelope.
Oh my God. Okay. Like you should take a moment to appreciate how special it is that your list of people that you love and care about and want to be around the holidays is so big that you had to create a spreadsheet. A privilege.
There's at least 53 spots on the spreadsheet, and there's a lot of couples. I will say last year we got 80 people.
Wow.
Amazing.
And the year we didn't do it was 2020.
That sounds so lit.
2021, that was the year that everyone was like, no, we're hiring sitters.
I love it. I love it.
The week before, we go and cut down our own Christmas tree. And
I used to do that. It was the best.
Mike and I always try to get the ugliest Christmas tree we can. We do not want the perfect one. We need tall and skinny because like the way my house is, you come in and there's like kind of like an entryway with like this staircase that goes up and it's very grand looking. And so we always try to put the Christmas tree right next to the staircase where it goes up and then you can't even see the top. It goes past the ceiling because it goes up to the second floor.
So much.
And so we try to get this really tall, skinny, ugly little tree. And everybody that comes to the party, they're always just like, oh my God, your tree looks so beautiful. I'm like, are you kidding? This is the hideous one we could find. It's great.
Reminds me of the episode of Friends where Phoebe gets really upset with all of the trees that don't get chosen. Oh, yeah. And she's like sobbing. Yes. And she's like, and their destiny was to be a Christmas tree, and that's it. You're doing the work. You're taking the trees that other people might not.
And the place we go, you pay by the foot for the tree. So like, you go over, and if there's like a 50-foot tree, I could be like, I want that one, but I only want 15 feet of it. So they cut down the top 15 feet of it, and then the rest they turn into wreaths and stuff.
That's interesting.
So like, you're just paying for whatever you're going to buy. You don't have to go and walk through this entire field looking for the perfect tree. We still kind of do, because that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Right. And we drive his truck from 1960 just so we can take a picture
for the vibes of it
all.
The vibes.
Exactly. Which we only have one weekend to do it this year. It is December 7th. And because the holiday party is the 14th. Mm-hmm. And if it rains, we can't take the truck out. So Pennsylvania's in a drought, and I'm sorry, I don't want us to be, because we do have wildfires right now. But maybe if we could get all of the rain out of the way in November, and then no rain, just that one weekend, it's fine.
Right.
I heard that the Democrats control the weather, so I don't really know. We have only a couple of months left of that, so if they could just figure that out,
right?
I think, as a nice little final hurrah, that would be good.
Wouldn't that be great if we really could control the weather?
Oh my God.
Everyone could have a white Christmas, and it would just be the perfect amount of snow.
Right. If we could control the weather, you think this is how we would do it?
Right.
What? I'm in a t-shirt. It's November 7th. I live in New York. What are we doing?
It's so crazy.
Come on.
It's so wild.
Come on. Crazy.
What is everybody's favorite holiday films?
Oh my gosh. This is a real tough one because they're all magical. I love both Home Alones, obviously, are like huge hits. I really love Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It's just so good. It's so good. Like his whole embodiment. There's things that we still say like every day. We'll say we're a family that definitely speaks in movie quotes.
Yeah.
One of which is, "You're an idiot," when Jim Carrey is doing the echoes and as the Grinch in his little Grinch lair, and his echo comes back with "You're an idiot."
Yeah.
I love that. Or hate, double hate, loathe entirely.
Yeah.
It's so good. I love the Santa Claus. I think that is just like such a great Christmas classic. Mm-hmm. It's really hard for me to find a Christmas movie that I don't love. Of course, all of Lindsay Lohan's new holiday fare I'm obsessed with. I'm obsessed with her. She is like my celebrity of all celebrities.
She's having such a moment. I'm so happy for her.
I am so
happy for her.
So happy for her.
She looks amazing.
I always knew this would happen. I always knew people would come back around and we would just have to like take our time. I've always known that her last name is pronounced Lohan and everyone says Lohan. She informs us about every 7 to 10 years that it's actually Lohan, and people act like, oh, this is a huge shock. I'm like, you told us this before.
I like how you say every 7 to 10 years. It's like the same timing of like when cicadas all come out at the same time. It's like, she's like, by the way, it's Lohan. And then she goes back.
Just so you know. Yeah. Oh, you hear that high-pitched screeching of the cicadas? Time to tell you. Here's my last name.
By the way.
That's what you should do. You should make a shirt that has a cicada on it with a little word bubble above that says, actually, it's pronounced Lohan. That's the shirt.
Oh my God. If we get
the
that,
layers
that would be amazing.
That you would have to go through to explain that is just that's worth printing the shirt to begin with.
If ever pops off and becomes one of the biggest podcasts, that's going to be our first merch.
That's the merch.
Actually, it's pronounced Lohan.
It's so funny. Oh, those are all great movie picks. All great movie picks. Eric, what are yours?
So I love all of those too. But I love being contrarian. And so I like Christmas movies that don't feel like Christmas movies.
Okay.
Are you going to say Gremlins right now?
Oh, I do love Gremlins. Gremlins is such a great Christmas movie.
It scared the shit out of me.
Also, it's traumatizing. Her telling that story like sticks with you, which Alyssa, you look confused. Did you not see it?
So I've seen the Gremlins, but not in a really long time. So I'm trying to remember. I'm like, what?
So you do not remember. You should watch it this year,
Yeah,
and then
I will.
we'll check in with you.
It's horrifying. You cannot tell me. Here's what I got so pissed about at Steven Spielberg specifically, because he's involved in that movie and he's a great man, has made amazing films. But to market that as a Christmas movie on the back, I can distinctly remember the back of the VHS tape that I would go to Blockbuster. And in my mind, this is also probably partially my mother's fault, but I was like 7, and I remember thinking, this is a Christmas movie. It says on the back of the box, it's a Christmas movie. And so we would watch it. I would be terrified. I couldn't ever get to the end. I would always stop when the science teacher gets eaten, when he's trying to feed the little Mogwai a Snickers bar, and then he gets eaten. I would always stop it there, and I could never finish it. And I would go back almost every week and rent it again. Be like,
did like it.
It's a Christmas movie. I've got to like this, because I was obsessed with Christmas even then. Like, my author photo for flopping is me meeting Santa for the first time, and I'm like double chin, excited.
Cute.
I loved him from the moment I met him. So in my mind, in my little kid mind, I kept thinking, Gremlins has to be a good movie because it says on the back it's a Christmas movie, and I love Christmas.
Right.
Ergo, I love this movie. But I could never get through it.
Producer Matt says Gremlins, along with Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, are why the PG-13 rating is created, which is true. Because I will say Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom scared the crap out of me as a kid. Like when they're going in and ripping people's hearts out.
That was
the
gross.
snakes. But yeah, so I was... Gremlins is a great movie. I do love that one. But honestly, one of my favorites is Black Christmas. It is a sorority house that is being stalked by a serial killer leading up to Christmas break. And I had never seen, they remade it twice. The second remake is, the first remake is okay. The second remake is a little messy, but the first movie is from the 70s. And producer Matt says the movie I watch at midnight on Halloween night to shift into Christmas movies.
I love that.
It is a great shift. I watch it probably multiple times a year because it's from the 70s. It's from 1974. And it is super feminist for a slasher movie. Like it's one of the earliest major slasher movies. And the final girl, a lot of the plot has to do with her going to her boyfriend before Christmas break, saying she's pregnant and that she's going to have an abortion. And it's about their relationship where he's like, no, I'm going to drop out of school. I'll get a job. We can raise the kids together. She's like, okay, what about my plans?
Wow.
No, I don't want to do this. This was a mistake. I'm going to have an abortion. I'm going to go and do this. And it's not your decision.
Producer Matt, I'm waiting for him to just pop back in. He's part of the combo now.
I know. Also, we're having a talk about holiday movies. I know he's in there squirming, like, ask me about mine. So Matt, you can hop in if you want.
He has a podcast literally all about Christmas movies.
I have an all year round Christmas podcast called Christmas 365.
Oh my God, Matt, I am now a listener.
But no, Eric, on top of that, just a quick fun fact, because I have them and I threw it in the chat, but I'll say it here. John Carpenter's Halloween was inspired by the never made sequel to Black Christmas. John Carpenter was working with the director Bob Clark, and he was saying how much he loved the movie and how it used a POV for the killer and stuff like that. And he said, what would your sequel be? And he's like, well, obviously the killer comes back on Halloween night and attacks babysitters. And he's like, oh, well, then I'm just going to make that movie. And he's like, go for it, because they're never going to finance a sequel to mine.
Which Halloween is one of my all-time favorite movies. That's the other thing. Bob Clark also directed A Christmas Story. So he directed Black Christmas and then A Christmas Story.
I love that.
And also, I like watching Eyes Wide Shut as a Christmas movie.
Ooh,
I think it's a great Christmas movie.
I've never seen Eyes Wide Shut, but I went to a masquerade party recently, and I was like,
was it?
No, no. It was.
Okay.
I was expecting it to be, but it was kind of boring. But I would have preferred if it were like, maybe a little spicier than that. But whatever.
And producer Matt just chimed in with saying "Kiss Kiss Bang Bang." "Kiss Kiss Bang Bang" is a great Christmas movie too. But I like all the other ones. But what are Alyssa? How about you?
I love The Holiday.
Oh my God, so good.
Oh, I wonder. I've been wanting to rewatch that this year. I think it's.
I watch it every year. It's just the coziest Christmas movie ever. I love Little Women too. Like I just.
Oh yeah.
It's like just
Which
a
version?
Classic. The more recent one. I can't remember.
Okay.
Who's in it now, but the one that came out more recently is the
Greta
one.
Gerwig directed it.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And those are probably like my top two. I do watch Elf every year too. Like it's just always on, and it's like so easy and breezy to watch. I think those are probably like my top three, aside from It's a Wonderful Life, which we always gotta watch. A Christmas Story too. I love Christmas Story. I like the classics. Eric, you have all of the like fringe Christmas movies that like Eyes Wide Shut? What are we talking about? I said Elf.
I mean, it's because those are the ones that everybody watches, so they're always on. So it's right. I want the ones that maybe I want to seek out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
I also The Holiday is my big one though. That's my big one.
And that's the movie where we all discovered that Jack Black is the rom-com lead that we all need. Yes. I mean, like, wow.
Oh my God.
Never has there been a better rom-com lead.
I know. He's so great in that movie. And I feel like my whole MO is I don't really go for looks as much as I go for personality, which I feel like is sort of like a whatever thing to say, but it's exactly for people like Jack Black. Exactly for that. Because your whole life being married to someone like Jack Black is going to be so fun and so hilarious.
Yes.
And like the most loyal.
He's like, a scroodly do. Like, it's just like, oh my God, yes, like, this is love.
It's so great. I love Jack Black. I love him in that movie. And it's just such a great one. That's my favorite. Oh my God. I feel like I need to have the rest of my day be Christmassy. Like tonight I might watch The Holiday.
You should.
You should. Everybody should.
Or maybe I'll watch Eyes Wide Shut to get in the Christmas mood.
By flopping in a Winter Wonderland, because it'll be out when we release this.
Yes. So, sorry. So November 12th?
November 12th.
Okay. That's so exciting.
I can't wait. I'm really proud of this book. It's been a lifelong goal to make Christmas media and become a part of Christmas canon. And I really hope that people feel this is a yearly tradition read for them would just be the highest honor.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
I hope it's turned into a Netflix or even Hallmark Channel original movie, Lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that so much.
Have they announced if they're doing a queer one this year? Because I know they do one a year. They have been the last couple of years.
I think there is one. Or maybe it's not Hallmark. I just saw the preview, and it has Kyle Richards in it, and then two gay couples. It's essentially The Holiday, where they switch houses, but Kyle Richards is in it.
The
Holiday. Oh, speaking of The Holiday, the one. God, there was a Christmas movie that Kristen Stewart did, and it is Holiday, and I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, Happiest Season.
Yes. The year that movie came out, I'm not kidding, I watched it 4 times, and I was like, I think that I should start telling people that I'm bisexual, because what am I doing? I literally was like...
For Kristen Stewart or for Aubrey Plaza?
Kristen Stewart. Yes. Kristen Stewart in that movie did something to me. It was...
Kristen Stewart. I love Kristen Stewart. I am a Kristen Stewart. I'm here for the renaissance of Kristen Stewart.
Mm-hmm. I'd risk it all for her.
I've always loved Aubrey Plaza, and she was great in it. I will say that movie though was that one. I think JJ was saying something about how there's a formula and there is it's supposed to be a comfort. And that one, I think, was advertised as a Hallmark Channel kind of movie, even though it was on Hulu. It isn't. It doesn't have... Because it's it's very high stress. I think anytime it has to do with a coming out story with family, there is trauma there that I do not think you can
Christmasized.
Make it. Yeah, you can't make it that way. And it happened. I was watching it and it was
stressful.
It was bringing up shit for me, which I have been out of the family drama gay stuff for years. And I still was I really hate everybody. I hate this whole family. I hated the love interest. I was like, no, dump her ass and go home with Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah.
I get that in that movie. I loved all the people in it, but same, I was like, oh no, this doesn't have the holiday cozies. It has like holiday stress and fright.
It's still a holiday movie, but it's like
such a good point.
It's a holiday movie the way Black Christmas is a holiday movie.
Right.
It gives you stress.
That's such a good point. And again, to my first point about it, I just needed to watch Kristen Stewart, and that was how I did. Yeah. So many times a year.
Not a holiday movie, but have you seen? First of all, Underwater with her is amazing.
No, I want to so bad.
It's
I want to
so
bad.
good.
I need to see that.
But there's another one she did called Personal Shopper. Have you watched that one?
No.
Incredible. It is so good. It's probably the best acting she has ever done. And I think she's a great actress.
The monster in Underwater is terrifying.
Oh, yeah. You're spoiling it for yourself.
I'm sorry. I just looked up the movie, so I remembered to watch it.
The whole movie is pretty intense. The first scene was, I was like, I am in. I am locked in on this. It was great.
Yeah. What's the other one you were saying?
Personal Shopper.
Okay.
It's like she has a twin brother. She's a medium and a personal shopper. But she has a twin brother who died in this house, and she's like trying to contact him and just to say goodbye. And then there's like a bunch of other shit going on, and it's like a psychological thriller ghost story, and it's really good.
I want to watch this tonight. Oh man, so much good stuff to watch. So much good stuff.
Yes. So what about JJ? Before we let you go, we always ask everybody. Oh, Alyssa, you didn't get to ask your question either. So we have two questions for you before you go. Alyssa, go with your question.
Okay, the first one is I always like to know what people's draft to writing, like what people's process is like, because we always talk about how Eric has kind of like a chaotic process. He just like kind of puts it all on, and then there are other people who are outliners, like they're gonna like make little storyboards and the whole thing. So where do you fall when you're creating your stories?
I am a hardcore plotter. Like, I am such a Virgo. Like, just hearing about your chaos, Eric, stresses me out.
One of my best friends is a Virgo, and I've never understood like astrological traits as much as I have Virgo. That's all you have to say.
Yeah. And part of that is comforting for Virgos. Like, we like the fact that you already know what we're going to need, because it makes it where there's not a lot of unknown. So I do the whole outline, like chapter by chapter, oftentimes like scene by scene, where I usually have like 25 to 35 pages fully typed up before of like, here's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Your outlines are 35 pages long.
Yeah. And it then makes the drafting part very easy for me. That's not to say that it won't change or all of a sudden a character will take me on a different side or a different like journey. But it still feels a little bit more guided, even if things are getting different, where I usually have a first draft done in like 6 weeks. And then from there can really get into revision and stuff, which is like my favorite part. I love it. The outlining will take me like 6 to 8 weeks, then the first draft another like 6 weeks, and then getting into that revision for as long as that will take. But it helps streamline the process and like freak me out way less. If I get writer's block, it's in the outline, not in the drafting.
I can do the writing a book in 6 weeks and it being chaos, but then it ends up being like, okay, well now there's 8 months worth of editing. So it's like, that's when I was like, okay, maybe.
Maybe.
And I can still have like months and months long of editing, but it feels more controlled for me somehow, where I'm like, okay, now I can just figure out the right shape of the puzzle piece that's missing or whatever. But get to the bones in a better way for my brain.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yep.
Well, I'm the Aries, so I guess it makes sense that I'm chaotic.
Chaos.
Love it.
But it gets done.
Yeah.
Eventually.
And you write amazing books.
Yeah, you do.
Well, I mean, you do too, but you do it quicker.
Maybe not even quicker, just with less chaos.
Oh, Eric.
Well, chaos is the brand for me, so I can't give that up.
It is.
And our second question is, what are you reading now?
Ooh, right now I'm reading The Nightmare Before Christmas by Sarah Rash, where it's the Prince of Christmas starts, I think, dating the Prince of Halloween. I'm 40 pages in, loving it.
That's so cute.
I heard about that.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it. And what did I just finish? Oh, I just finished my reread of J.L.'s House of Marion, where it's like this, it's really great young adult fantasy. sort of like her comps were like Bridgerton meets, what was it? Bridgerton meets Fourth Wing, but there's no dragons.
Ooh.
But there's magic. It's like a magical society, a magical debutante society where all these 18-year-olds are like getting inducted into the Order, which is this magical society. And the lead has a type of magic that's forbidden. And so she's trying to hide it from everybody and still get into society. And it's just very fascinating. The second book came out earlier this year. And so I just did my reread to like be ready to jump into the sequel.
Love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Alyssa, do you have anything else for JJ? I mean, I think this episode is exactly what I needed.
Yeah,
I love that.
I genuinely feel much better after having this conversation. Like, I feel lighter. I feel Christmas spirit and magic in my heart right now, and I feel great. I feel like you didn't mean to, but you actually did actually soothe me after how crazy the past few days have been, JJ.
That means a lot. That's really what I think my purpose on this planet is to help spread joy as a little bit, even if it's one person, even if it's one podcast interview. Aww. I mean, we talked about the joy of Christmas. We talked about Mormons. We talked about the magic of Botox. What else do we need?
That's right.
We covered it all. We covered it all.
We covered it all.
I love it.
That's going to be my new Christmas tradition. I'm getting Botox.
Yay! I love it. Oh, thank you, JJ,
Amazing.
for coming on. I already pre-ordered your book, and I'm so excited to read it.
Thank you so much. That really means a lot. Every sale helps. It's like, especially right now for young adult, I'm sure we all know how it's rough. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And really, it's been such a pleasure to have this conversation with you. You were the perfect person to talk to today. And I hope that all of your Christmas traditions are perfect and exactly what you need them to be.
Likewise. Happy holidays.
Yay.
Happy holidays. Merry, merry.
When she asks me how far we can take it, I tell her we can take it across the entire universe. You are my universe. I'm just a friend.
I think that was, again, great episode. Loved it. Alyssa, what are you reading?
I am reading, actually, I've been having I think I said this last time, I'm having a very hard time focusing recently. I did finish Dark, oh my God. I know, for days I wasn't sleeping, and I was like, it's probably just, the time change. And then I was like, oh, you idiot. No.
I thought it was my ADHD medicine. I was like, oh no, never mind. It's not.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's definitely not. I started a book called The Unquiet Bones. Although I don't know if I'm going to continue reading that, because I think I need something, because that one's sort of thriller mystery vibes.
Yeah.
I think I need something that is a little more on the romancy side. So I don't know. So someone recommended to me the Zodiac Academy books. So I don't know. I might give that a try. I haven't decided yet. So I started The Unquiet Bones, but I don't know if I'm going to stick with it. I'll let you know next time we touch base what I end up doing. But what are you reading?
So I'm still reading The Last House on Needless Street.
Oh yeah.
But just because I haven't really read much over the past week.
Yeah.
But I started flopping in a Winter Wonderland on Tuesday when I was kind of doom spiraling, and it is what I needed. I think anybody who picks this book up, I feel like I've been pushing this book harder than anybody else. And I feel bad for anyone else on YAOK that's listening to this. I'm sorry that I've usually read your book beforehand, but this is the one that I think if you pick it up, you will be smiling within 2 pages. And I think you will not stop until you finish it. So
also, I have to tell you that when you texted the group chat about doing this podcast episode with JJ, the way that I read it the first time, I need to pull up the way that I read it was, we're talking to Jason June about his new book Flopping. That's how I read it. And then I was like, Eric is sarcastic a lot of the time, but that's a crazy way to be we're going to talk to my friend about...
We're going to bring up some trauma and talk about how his new book fucking flopped.
Right, exactly. So yeah, and then I actually read the whole thing. And I was like, oh, flopping in Winter Wonderland. Got it.
I hope this one doesn't flop. It's a good one.
It better not. Based on how warm and cozy this whole episode was, I feel like everyone needs the gift of having that energy in their lives. So check out Flopping in Winter Wonderland. From November 12th, it comes out.
Yep, it's out November 12th.
Yeah, and let us know if you are reading anything fun or interesting. You can go to our Instagram at YAOK Podcast. And everyone keep your chins up. We're going to love each other through this. And everything is going to be challenging, but we're going to make it fine because we don't have any other choice.
Correct. Gotta keep it with the community. Just create a community, stick together.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Exactly. We love you. Thank you for listening. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.